All right, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to do a quick update on Verasity. We recently had a nice little run up here, which we predicted a couple weeks ago, and now I just kind of want to update you guys on what I'm seeing, some adjusted price predictions, and a few chart patterns I want to point out. So we're going to cover that today. I've had quite a few requests to kind of keep tabs on certain projects. So for example, like VRA and MTV. So you're going to see some. Obviously, I'm going to always talk about new coins, but I'm going to want to be updating you guys consistently on a weekly basis based on your feedback on some of these coins. So thank you for the feedback. And if there are other coins you want me to cover consistently, just drop them in the comments. But without further ado, let's get started. Let's kind of cover how we got to where we're at, and then we'll look at a few price predictions and some of the recent chart patterns I'm seeing. So first off, as we covered in the last video, we saw this nice elongated cup and handle form over the course of quite a few months. And then after that, we actually saw, the breakout we expected once we double tested that, 2.5 cent mark right here. We came off that and then started breaking out. So if you had a chance to watch my last video, we posted, probably right around here. Typically when you're trading a cup and handle, you want to see it break some of that previous resistance before you start, buying in. So we tried to time that as best we could, but that is, obviously getting a lot of gains for some of the viewers that were able to catch that. So going forward, want to point out a key chart pattern that I'm seeing right now. So you can make the case right now for what we would call a leading diagonal. And so this is part of the, if you guys have ever looked into Elliott wave theory, that this is part of that. So typically in a bull market, this is a bullish pattern. Obviously, some of you guys who trade and look at TA a lot, you can also make the case for a rising wedge, which is actually a bearish indicator. But in a bull market, a lot of the times, if we do see an Elliott wave with a leading diagonal, overall it is bullish, but we'll talk about it. There's actually a good chance that it drops significantly before we actually push to the upside. So we're going to talk about that as well. But just want to set the tone there. We are looking at a leading diagonal with an Elliott wave here. So let's talk about where exactly we're going to be headed. First off, want to draw a quick retracement and just look at, maybe where some of the downside levels would be. Just, a couple of key levels for you guys to watch as we keep continuing this bullish pattern here in VRA. So a couple areas here that I want to focus on. First of all, it's key that in this kind of, last couple weeks that we ran up, we established a new support. That is massive. So this was just above 5 cents. If we didn't convincingly, and this is a 4-hour chart, so if we didn't convincingly close a couple of these 4-hour candles, above this new support, it's easy that, not easy, but it's pretty likely we would have dropped down near here or somewhere here. But luckily we did establish that new support level. But with that said, let's dive into where we could be headed. So although the leading diagonal is bullish in a bull market, it's important to note that a lot of the times before we end up breaking out to the upside, we actually drop down pretty significantly and then break up to the upside. If you look up Elliott wave, that's typically what you'll see with the leading diagonal. So obviously we're not just going to go straight up from here. That never happens essentially. So let's talk about what key levels we're looking for right here. So first off, in an Elliott wave, we're really looking at this about 4.5 cent level. This is going to be the key level in terms of essentially our safety support is what I like to call it. So if we come up here and then we come back down here and find some support right around that 4.5 cent level, that's totally fine. That is not, we're still looking bullish. If we drop below that, that's when I'm going to start getting a little bit concerned. So if we start falling, to 4 cents, maybe right below 4 cents right here, that's when we start to get a little bit concerned. There's a case to make that the bullish continuation pattern doesn't keep going, and that we actually look more bearish. I don't think that's what we're going to see. I personally think, we may come back after this crazy bullish, couple of weeks, we might come back and healthily retest this 4.5 cent level right here. And that's totally fine. So don't freak out if we end up going back down towards that level. That's baked into the Elliott wave leading diagonal, at least as of now. So don't be too concerned about that. But definitely watch it closely. So just to repeat myself, that 4.5 cent level is critical. So watch closely for 4.5 cents. That would be kind of our safety support coming back down to the downside. In terms of the upside, I do want to touch on a couple of things here, and I'm assuming that's what most of you guys are interested in. So let's talk about where we could be headed from here. So to do this and to kind of talk about this in the most accurate way, I want to pull out a fib retracement really quick. And I got to delete this right here. So let's pull out this fib extension, not retracement. So a couple of key levels here. Obviously, you don't need to be a genius to tell that we need to, break this key fib of, just under, 6 cents and some change. This is huge. It's right under 7 cents. And so this is our previous all-time high. It also sits right next to a pretty key fib level. Once we break that, we're going to be playing between, around 7 cents and 80 cents. So we're going to be playing within here for a little bit if we break that all-time high. But there is a chance, obviously, like I said before, if we break that all-time high, we may come back down and test this previous support as well, which, like I said before, is totally fine if we end up doing that. But in terms of going back to the upside, assuming that we've already done that retest on the Elliott wave, back to the upside, we're first going to be playing between 7.5 cents and 8.5 cents, and then our next big push is going to be between 9.5 and 10 cents. So this area is going to be huge in terms of what we're going to be doing moving forward. And in terms of like a realistic price prediction, we're seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter saying $1, $1.50 this cycle. I personally don't think we're going to be that high, guys. I would love that. But as you know, if you've followed this channel, we do really, really realistic and conservative price predictions. And so based on what we saw back here, if we're looking at the moving averages, we have the 50, 100, and 200 day up here. If we look at what happened last time, so I think we talked about this in the last video, but we recently convincingly broke above the 100 and 200. If you can see here, the 50 broke above the 100, then broke above the 200, and convincingly meaning there are multiple day candles closing above that. The last time we saw that was back here in July, and as you can see, it's right here. We broke 100 day, broke 200 day, and the low right here is where I'm kind of looking at. From this low to this high, right up here, that's about a 5 to 5.5x. And so when you're doing technical analysis, it's good not to just speculate. It's good to go off of what you've seen before. So I'm mainly looking at, a 5 to 5.5x from a 2.5 to 3 cent marker. So that would put us between, 15 cents and 25 cents. So I kind of see that as our more realistic price target. I'm going to start looking into, especially given the timeline on this. So, if this starts happening towards end of year or early next year, I'm going to start thinking about profit taking. And that's something we can get into in the channel if you guys are interested in that. But 15 to 20 cents, this is going to be, at least right now, our end of year to end of cycle target. I really, $1 is just, it's really, really far out right now, and a lot needs to go right. Obviously, we have the exchange listings coming up. But just based on technical analysis, it looks like 15 to 25 cents would be our target. If some of that news comes out, if the patents prove to be just as impactful as we expect, and if the listings go smoothly and people actually start picking up VRA, if Twitter mentions pick up traction, then it could be a different story. Then we could be looking at 50 cents, 75 cents, $1. But right now, in terms of conservative TA price predictions, we're probably looking at something between 15 and 25 cents. Still a solid game from where we're at right now. But that's kind of what I'm seeing and what I wanted to get out to you guys. But that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. Leave any recommendations in terms of coins you want me to cover. And I'm happy to do some of these more on a regular basis. But thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.